Hello, magandang umaga. So today I will be wrapping up our lessons on basics on SPSS or the statistical packages for social science researches in our session last Thursday. So if you can still remember, yesterday I've given you an assignment in encoding data in the data area. And with that, you are expected to establish characteristics of your variables in the variable area. So let's try to see if you've done it correctly. Okay, nasan ka na? So eto siya. Pasensya na kayo sa book ko. Sobrang pangit. So, paano nyo nga ba sasagutan yung assignment? You're expected to, by the way, sa mga bago sa SPSS, the SPSS works or its main job is to analyze data using computer software, its own computer software. So it has two parts, main parts, the variable view here and the data view over here. So the variable view is an area in which you're supposed to establish your variables, the type of variable that you are considering, okay? Label the exact name of your variable for here, the values, if you have one for your own variable, and the measures, if it is a nominal data, if it is an ordinal data, if it is a ratio or an interval data. By the way, in SPSS, we don't have interval and ratio data. Rather, we hinge on the scale data. So it's already a combination between interval and ratio data. So, paano nyo nga ba ginawa yun? So, dapat, the first question is, for you to establish yung mga variables, di ba? So, dapat meron kayong serial number or the student number here, di ba? So, the exact label of that variable is student number, ano? And it's nominal because student 1 cannot be compared with student 2. They do not have that exact order. But in this case, you can actually establish coding with 1 as with student 1, 2 with student 2, 3 with student 3, 4 with student 4, 5 with student 5. Or you can have this. You can actually proceed. You can leave values blank, nominal, still nominal data. But in this case, you can actually have it that way. For gender, gender, gen is the variable. The exact label is gender. And you can actually code that particular variable as 1 with male, 2 with female. For Ma'am Glory Feano, how we do it, like for example, we have two variables. We assign a separate number for each of the variable. For instance, we assign 0 with male. Okay, so in the value, you have to assign a number. Okay, then you click add. That's it. So your variable male here, or your sex category male, was coded into a numerical number, which is 0. Or actually, you can have a letter value. So say, for example, can have M, and the label of that is male. Okay, and you go back here, change gender to string. So in here, you can actually remove this one. So you can change, you can have value, a string value or a letter value M that will represent male and F for female. You just have to, as what I did, you assign a particular value, you encode the label, you add, and you encode another value for another label, and so on and so forth. And if you're done, you're supposed to click OK. So there. And you have to decide whether it's nominal, ordinal, or scale measure. But of course, since it's string, it can either be ordinal or nominal. But you can have numeric. That's what I did a while ago. So you can just assign value 1 for male and value 2 for female. However, take note that 1 and 2 in this context does not show any difference between these labels, because we cannot say that female is higher compared to male. It's just a matter of identifying male and female. In terms of age, so it's numeric. Age also, you can write 1 with 16, 2 with 17, 3 with 18, because it's what you can observe. The minimum number of age, the minimum number of age is 16, the maximum number of age is 18, based on the data that I have provided. So you can just come up with code starting with the minimum up to the maximum. But if you have a large range of data, for example, with age 18 up to 25 or up to 70, so it would be troublesome for you to code every number with a particular value. So instead, you actually come up with a range. For example, between this and between this and between this and between this. Or from age 20 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 to, and so on and so forth. Later on, in our next discussion, I will be um, sharing to you how we can transform data into groups. So we won't be having problem with that anymore. So that's it. 1 with 16, 2 with 17, 3 with 18. And still, the data, as you can see, is originally scale, di ba? Kasi it's age. It's an interval of ages. But in here, because the difference is actually only 1, I do not know. Maybe you can have ordinal data because 16, 17, and 18 are in order. Whatever. And for strand, choose chosen. So it's still numeric. Student strand. So you can actually have 1 for UMS, 2 for STEM, 3 with TechBook. The data is still nominal, di ba? Kasi nga, it's not an order. We cannot say that UMS is lower compared to STEM and STEM is lower compared to ABM or TVL at that. Okay, so I will stop with this because, I will stop with this discussion because I would like to start discussing one by one the presentation of basic statistics in your paper. So the data view would look like this. Now you're ready to, you know that male is 1, female is 2. So you can actually write female. If it is female, you can just click 2, diba? It's still female. If this male, you can click 1. Parang ganon. So that's it. It's the same with age. It's the same with strand. Look at this. Now, why are we including profile? It's because there are researchers that found these variables to be significantly related to their constructs. For instance, their commitment is related to their gender, their age, their course. So that is the very reason why we're including them in our profile. But if there is no reason or if there is no um, if there is no study or theory that will gauge you to include this in your variables, then there is no need for you to include them. Unless, yeah, So that's it. Okay, so now I will be telling you how we can actually describe the profile in terms of gender, in terms of age, in terms of strand chosen by our respondents. So how do we do that? We just go to the menu bar here. So the menu bar offers us edit, view, data, transform, analyze, and so on and so forth. So you just have to click analyze and go to descriptive statistics. Remember, our objective is to describe the profile or the characteristics of our respondents. It will be descriptive statistics, which could provide us a better analysis for that variable. And we go to frequency. Sorry, I have already placed it there. And you will be provided with two boxes here. So this contains our variables. This contains the variables that we need to be tested, for instance, or that we need to be analyzed. For instance, in this case, we would like to describe the profile in terms of gender, in terms of age, in terms of student strength. So we're going to move it using this arrow here. You see, all the variables that we would like to describe with are already on the second text box. Then we click OK, but we have to ensure that this option here, display frequency tables or frequency tables, has been checked. Otherwise, we will not be provided with the frequency that we need in each of these variables. So we click OK. All right. So this is the data summary. So in terms of gender, okay, there are 5 respondents. In terms of age, there are 5 respondents. In terms of student strength, there are also 5 respondents. So none of the data are missing. They all have 5 respondents each. So you have to check prior to moving into the actual result. You have to check whether the data that you have inputted are correctly collected by the SPSS. Or if you have missed something, you have to go back and you have to look into your questionnaire and place there the appropriate data, so it won't be missing. You can just close this and redo the process. So analyze descriptive statistics and frequency. So here, in terms of gender, so here's the summary. In terms of gender, there are 3 male, 2 female. 60% of the actual participants are male, while 40% are female. And the total number of participants is 5. The same with age. So there is 1 respondent who age 16, 2 age 17, 2 age 18. Both 40% are aged 17 and 18. Well, there is only 20% who age 16. In terms of strand chosen, so 2 are in UMS, 2 are in STEM, and 1 is in TechBook. So 40%, okay, 40% for UMS and STEM, and only 20% for TechBook. So that's it. You now have already the result. You now already have the result. In presenting the this data or this result to our actual you can just simply um, right click the table, then you can click copy special and Excel here. You click OK. That's it. So again, click the table, right click, and click copy special. All right. So let's see what we can do next. So now we're very much ready to prepare our discussion of the result. So that one was the result, and we have to provide a discussion for that. So how do we do that? It's very basic. So here is the result in terms of gender. So you just have to place on top of the table, the kind of profile or the profile that you would like to describe, the frequency and percent. Then the labels, male and female, and the total. So here you can see that there are 3 participants who are male, 2 are female, 60% of them are male, while only 40% are female. So how do you discuss your result? You start with, of course, introducing the profile that you would like to discuss. You say in terms of what? What profile? Gender profile, age profile, strand profile, and so on and so forth. So in terms of age profile, among the how many respondents, yeah, because we have to present it in a broader um, manner. For instance, yes, the totality, the summation of all the data that have collected. So among the 5 respondents, now you have to write 5 in words because it's less than 10. If the number is greater than 10, you have to write it in number. So in terms of age profile, you say age here. Is that age or sex? Gender. Okay, in terms of gender profile, among the how many respondents do you have? So 5, just 5. So among the 5 respondents, coming from where? Uh, Coming from Dolores National High School, for instance. Dolores National High School. Consider presenting the case with a larger number or percent. So that's the first thing that you're going to do. You have to introduce your profile. Okay. Introduce a profile, present the total number of respondents, present the local in which you have collected the data. You can say 5 teacher respondents if they are teachers, student respondents if they're students, and so on and so on. Consider presenting the case with larger number or percent. For example, you say there are 3 or 60% or female. Diba? You can say 3 or, sorry, there are 3. Among the 5 respondents, there are 3 or 60% who are female. When you're presenting your result, and it should be in present tense, are female, while only 2, diba? You have to change this into words. Yeah, into words. While only 2 or 40% are male. So that's the second part. You have to describe your result. Though it's already provided there, can be observed already there. But the textual description or discussion of your result will pave the way for readers to better understand what your table is really all about. Okay, because yun. So this result is related. The third part that you're going to place in your discussion is or are findings from related studies that are similar, which can actually support your findings, or findings that will refute, or those that are opposite to your findings. For instance, in the study of whoever he is, he described profile of teachers as male are more abundant compared to female, so ganon. So it refutes your own findings. So it will be good as a researcher if you can actually propose, you know, 2 sides of the coin. Okay, those that are similar or that can actually support your own findings, and those that are opposite, or those that can refute your own findings. And you have to cite them very carefully. You have to cite and briefly discuss findings. so that you can bridge the gap between what occurred in that or in those study that made it quite different from your own context. For instance, ano, this result opposes, diba? This result is related or opposes, diba? The findings of a Buddha in his assessment of. So you can see that the method that you've used, if the method that you've used is similar to the method that the other researchers have used, diba? Okay, and very important, you have to provide your implication. So this result implies that. What is its implication? So it may implies that male are more abundant, di ba? Compared to females or whatsoever. In the context of your study, what is its implication? So again, remember to include four things in your discussion. The first one is the introduction of the profile or the variable that you would like to explain, okay, including the total number of respondents that you have, the description of the local that you have used, okay. The second is you have to present the data, but do not summarize it, diba? Do not get the gist out of the data. Be careful because this part is just but results and discussion. This is not actually summary of findings or whatsoever. Or do not actually conclude. This is not concluding part yet. So this result is, then you have to provide findings from studies that are similar or that which refute your own findings. Specify the method that we have used so that comparisons of your own method and their own method will make or will beautify the essence of your study or will emphasize um, the essence of your study. And of course, you have to provide your implication. What then? What then? What will be the things that we're going to do now based on the result? What is the implication now? Yeah, so that's it. So you have your table, you have your discussion. So when you present it now, you have to have your own title. Say gender profile, gender profile of whom? Of respondents. Where? In Dolores National High School. Of course, you have to write National High School completely, but in my case, I'm sorry. So you have to have your own title. Yeah. Then it should be followed by your discussion. Yes. And your table, of course. And you have to provide another title for your table. Say table 1. You may just actually copy your results title. Say it's gender profile. Then you actually make this bold and the title simply not bold enough. Then so that's it. What else? Right? So the table, you're supposed to the top column, the first line and the top column should have this um, bar here. So ano bang tawag dito? Hindi ko alam. So ganon. Tapos sa baba, well, nakita ninyo, parang double siya na line tapos may single line. Then single line naman sa next line and before the last line. So yeah, your table should look like this. Okay, so that's it. That's how you're supposed to write your result and discussion in an APA format. Pasensya na. Okay. So kung may tanong, feel free to PM me and we can talk about that. Okay. So I hope that you have somehow learned something from today's discussion on presenting results and discussions for um, descriptive type of objectives, describing the profile. Later in the coming days, I will be sharing to you how you can actually present um, descriptive objectives, but more on level, with particular levels. Level of assessment, level of quality assurance, and so on and so forth. So, ayaw ganon. So, once again, maraming salamat sa inyong pakikinig. I hope that you have a very, very good day today and mm, research is exciting if you're so much willing to do it and it will bring you somehow somewhere, you know, someday. So once again, this is Sir Ben saying thank you for listening and have a great hair day. Well, hair day talaga.